All right, welcome to Project 5. This project set up more almost like a little science experiment using convolutional neural networks for you to try out. So here's the different steps. The first thing you have to do is select one of two data sets. So I'm going to give you an option here. You can choose a data set related with images of humpback whales. And there's been a number of challenges trying to identify humpback whales from their tails. When you see them out in the wild, they often dive and people can take pictures of the tails. Just a couple years ago, I was out visiting my daughter out in Seattle, and we went on a whale tour, and we did see a humpback whale. It was really cool to see it dive and see its tail. And then the boat operator was able to look up the humpback whale tail in a database and try to track it down. They actually weren't able to track it down there because they didn't have an automated system like this, but they were able to at least submit the picture of the tail to this database. For this. So that's one thing. The other thing is to look at chest x-rays and to identify pneumonia. With the current pandemic, pneumonia is been gaining some importance or interest in research. There's been a number of challenges, including a KAGO one with pneumonia detection here. We're just using a data set for that. In both of these, to try to keep this these data sets and this challenge to be doable, I've created a subset of the data. So we don't have all the chest x-rays. That takes up over a gigabyte of memory and wouldn't fit in Colab and would take a while to load in. Similarly, we don't have all the whale things. We just have the top 200 whales, which we have the most photos of for this. But again, you can choose either of these challenges. So that's your first step. Step is research to then choose one of those. The next, and for each challenge then, there's a separate notebook. There's these two notebooks here. These notebooks are set up to be basically identical. So here's the x-ray one we set things up. We have some sample images. We load in the data set. And then we use some code to display some of the data set examples here. And then we set up your network and then, or set up the parameters for the network. And then here's the actual network set. And then the training of this network. And the humpback whale is, again, basically the same thing here. I'm just swapped out the data set here. So same sort of setup, same sort of here. Okay, as I was saying, the humpback whale one is similar to the x-ray one. I noticed because I'd copied them, I had actually changed the x-rays of the images here to humpback whales, and now they're right. So again, this notebook is basically the same as the x-ray one, and same thing, just using the whale database for it. So your job is to choose one of those two options. And then now your job is to make an hypothesis of some way you can improve a convolutional neural network. So make a statement that can be proven either true or false about this. So an example might be, adding more layers to a convolutional neural network will improve its performance. So then you would then test that out down below. Here, and you would create maybe some go into your network. You'd create one network with so many layers and maybe another network with twice as many layers, and then you'd compare the results of those. Another thing you could say is like a pre-trained convolutional neural network will perform better than a manually constructed one. Or, pre-trained weights. Using pre-trained weights will perform better than one without pre-trained weights. Or using learning rate reduction. We know how to set up learning rate reduction here. When we set up our networks, where is that? When we do the training here, we specify we're using learning rate reduction. Well, you can just use that and then delete that one time so you don't use that and see if the learning rate reduction actually helps for things. So again, make one of these. These are just some sample hypotheses. You can create your own. There's lots of different options. But again, your hypothesis is just some statement about what you think is something that could improve the performance of a CNN. And then the next step, step 3, is to test this out. So you have your notebook, run some tests. Now, in the most basic situation, you'll simply run 2 tests. So if you're thinking that, like here, adding a more convolutional layers will improve the performance, you'd run one network with, maybe 5 convolutional neural layers and another one with 10 layers, and then you just compare your accuracy. Now, a better, more advanced system, you might have some different types of networks. You might run a number of different sizes and compare the results. Another example is maybe there's one of these where we're talking about adding dropout layers. Both of these networks tend to over fit the data, and so the accuracy on the training data improves, but the accuracy on the testing data doesn't improve after a while. And so dropout layers would be, I think, a good way to help improve that. So maybe our hypothesis is that dropout layers can help improve the accuracy here. So maybe you'd want to run 3 different size networks, a small neural network, a larger one, and another one, and then try out with or without dropout layers. But that, that's 3 different networks with and without dropout layers. That's 6 different simulations you have to run. So again, that gets a little more advanced here. So again, you can choose, depending on how much time and how much energy you want to put into this, how much of this hypothesis you have to test. But you have to at least run 2 simulations to test your hypothesis with it kind of true and false. So, and the final thing is to go to the write-up. So your write-up is the same for both, or for either one here. You just describe your data set, you describe your hypothesis, you describe your results, and then you analyze your results. Now, this kind of sets us up as a practice one for our final research paper. You'll be doing something similar in your final research paper, and so this is kind of set up as a practice and preparation for that sort of work for this. So, hope you enjoy this. Feel free to post your results and your ideas and stuff to the discussion groups. Also remember, you can Zoom with me anytime. Just set up an appointment with that. Good luck.